Good morning and namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me today to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a few moments to become present. So find a nice, comfortable seated position. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we're going to need at least a blanket today, if not a block. I have this note right here, right in front of the computer to tell you all. And guess what I forgot to do? I have to stick it on my forehead so you can see it. So blanket and or blocks. So speaking of that, find yourself a nice comfortable seated position on a blanket or a cushion or a block, and elongate your back, the back of your spine, the back of your neck. Open your heart, open your chest, your diaphragm. Close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present and return to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, if you think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day, that'd be great. Today's intention, talk about the last of the Niyamas. There's 5 Niyamas, and this is the last. And it's called Ishvara Pranidhana, and it means surrender. And the surrender is that it presupposes that there is a divine force or something greater than ourselves at work in our lives, which invites us to surrender our egos, open our hearts, and accept the higher purpose of our being. But surrender is not passive. It's not giving up. It asks us to be strong enough to engage each moment with integrity and at the same time be soft enough to flow with the current of life. So sometimes you get that feeling of meant to be. I think that's what they're talking about, or what this addresses. It's kind of, you feel that there's a force other than what you've done that has created a path for you or a certain situation for you, that it was just meant to be, and you don't know where that came from, and you just go with the flow, you go with life. So in our meditation this morning, there is a mudra that is called Pranidhana, and it brings your ring and your middle fingers together, touching your thumbs, and the other 2 fingers are extended. It's kind of like that Hawaiian greeting. And then what you do is bring those pointer and pinky fingers together. And the Pranidhana mudra supports us in surrendering. It supports us in letting go of attachments, and it releases what we don't need in order to make room for what we do need. So let's just take a few moments And you can use that mudra if you wish, or you could just place your hands gently on your lap. That'd be fine too. There's another one that is a very classic one too, where I think your right hand's cupped in your left hand. So one hand's under the other. So if the Pranidhana mudra gets a little uncomfortable, you can just do that cup where your right hand's on top of the left. So we'll just take a few moments and meditate here. So you may open your eyes now. And as tradition has it now, we've talked about the Ishvara Pranidhana a couple of times over the past couple of years. We're going to do a style of yoga that's called yin yoga today. And typically what we do is a hatha style. That's kind of what I determined to be my style, where we're doing a kind of a vinyasa flow, but slower, and holding the poses longer. And yin yoga is it's called the yoga of the joints, because unlike the other styles of yoga that emphasizes muscles, this one emphasizes the deep connective tissues. So in yin yoga, and listening to some podcasts this week, they've been using yin yoga in terms of, and juxtaposing it against yang yoga, which is the vinyasa and more active style. Yin being the opposite, and thinking of the moon being yin. It's a calming, a cool, so it's a very, very slow style of yoga. And you hold the poses for quite a while. Typically in a regular yin class, you hold the poses for 3 to 5 minutes per pose. And in our class, because we're not used to that style, we're going to hold them for about 2 minutes. There's 3 principles of yin yoga. So one is to find your edge. And you hear me talk about finding your sweet spot. It's the same idea. And it should be that case in any style yoga that you're using. So let your intuition be your teacher, and finding that compassionate edge, that compassionate sweet spot. So it's not about going full throttle into the pose. It's going into where you feel a balance of effort and relaxation. So that's principle number 1. Principle number 2 is to become as still as you can be. So in those, in our case, 2 minutes, but in those 3 to 5 minutes, you find that sweet spot and you're in there, and your muscles are, not your muscles, your connective tissues are doing the action. They're kind of just relaxing and not stretching, but providing enough stress that they're being active. You may not feel that they're active, but there's work going on inside you that that this will do. And then the last part is surrendering to time, and that might be really the most challenging part of this whole thing, is that we're so geared up to being busy all the time, to just surrendering to even just those 2 minutes might be really taxing for some people, but it's trying to get present in the moment and just being, period. So I'm going to go to the mat and we'll begin. Again, if you have a blanket or blocks, that's going to be very helpful today. We're going to start out with a pose, and to just kind of help you through the 2 minutes, I've tied affirmations to each pose, so you can kind of chew on those affirmations. It's kind of like planting a seed in your soul. Each affirmation is I kind of looked for spring affirmations, so think of it in terms of the springtime and planting a seed in your soul. And then we'll do a pranayama throughout the practice. And I'll show you in our first pose what I mean by that. So we're going to start off, and we only have 10 poses. So it's, I'm sure you might be able to feel comfortable in this whole practice. So the first pose is, we're going to do a reclined mountain pose. So again, you can use your blanket to support your head. You'll be here a couple minutes. Get my stuff closer to me. So if you come lay down on your mat and go into Shavasana, which is relaxing everything, that's like surrendering. But if you go into reclined mountain pose, bring your toes so that they're facing up to the sky, so that then activates your legs. Bring your right hand to your tummy and your left hand to your heart. And so that activates your arms. Bring your legs are active, your knees can be softly bent, just like what we do when we do the mountain essentials. Navel's tucked to the spine, so you're actively bringing your lower back down to the mat. Right hand on your tummy, left hand on your chest. That snuggles in your shoulder blades, so your shoulders should be relaxed and rolled back and touching and snuggling into the mat. The back of your neck and back of your spine is nice and long. And the top of your head is reaching toward the end of the mat. So that looks like you're surrendering, but you're actually very active. So during this and during the other poses, I'd like to have you during your inhale, your deep inhale through your nose, invite the pose into your body. And then during the exhale, breathe toward each joint. So we're going to start, inhale, invite the pose into your body, this reclined mountain pose. And then exhale, send that exhale to the joints of your toes. Inhale, then exhale, sending that breath to the joints in your ankles. Inhale, Then exhale, sending that exhale to the joints in your knees. Inhale, exhale, sending the breath to the joints around your hips. Inhale and exhale, send the breath to the joints around your lower back. Inhale, exhale, send the breath to the joints of your shoulders. Inhale, exhale, send the breath to your elbows. Inhale, exhale, send the breath to your joints and your fingers. Inhale, exhale, send breath to the back of your neck. And just one deep inhale and then deep exhale through your mouth. Next pose, we're going to bring our knees up to our chest, give them a nice hug, and then place your hands interlaced around your right knee and send your left leg back down to the mat. Both toes are still flexed. And under your hand, inviting the pose into your body is that you might be feeling that your right leg wants to go back down to the mat, but your hands are kind of pulling them up toward your chest. So you have a little bit of resistance there and making your pose a little bit more active. So we'll stay in this, we're going to do both sides. So we'll stay in this pose for a minute and a half, or actually 2 minutes. And the affirmation is, today I celebrate the joy and wonder within. Today I celebrate the joy and wonder within. You bring your other leg up to join the right leg now, and both knees to the chest, and give them both a nice hug. And we'll do that on the other side. So it's wrap your hands around your left knee or right below your left knee and extend your right leg down to the mat. Lower back's snug in the mat. Toes are pointing up to the sky. If feel a little bit of activeness in your legs. And again, find your sweet spot, play around with, even though it's still trying to achieve a stillness, find that sweet spot is really key, and then you can get into the stillness. So again, the affirmation is, today I celebrate the joy and wonder within. Today I celebrate the joy and wonder within. You can bring both legs back up, knees to chest. Give your knees a nice gentle hug. And then place both feet on the mat. We're going to take our right ankle and place it on our left thigh, right above or right below the knee. So we're in a reclined pigeon pose. And having your leg extended to the side of the mat. And you may feel that this is perfect for the duration of the 2 minutes. Another option for you is to play around and find your sweet spot by wrapping your fingers around the back of your left thigh and gently guiding your left leg toward your chest. And I think that should probably be as for 2 minutes, whereas for the extent of that duration, that should be as much effort as you should do. Sometimes during a regular yoga class, we wrap it around the shin and pull it closer, but I think that's a little bit too much tension during this long 2 minute period. So either one of those, with your foot on the floor, with your knee pointing to the side, and maybe you can keep your right hand on your right knee just to give it that little bit more effort to point to the side of the mat, or wrap your hands around the back of your left thigh and bring your left leg toward you. So we'll begin now. My clock will stop. Stop. Oh, no, don't do that to me. There. All right. The affirmation is, light as a feather, I am soaring at my own pace and savoring every moment. Light as a feather, I am soaring at my own pace and savoring every moment. Bring your leg back down and we'll switch sides. So again, find your sweet spot. Let your intuition be your guide. So you can either keep your right foot on the mat and angle your left leg toward the side of the mat, or you can lift your right leg up and interlace your fingers behind your leg. And then inhaling, inviting that pose into your body. And the affirmation again is light as a feather. I am soaring at my own pace and savoring every moment. Light as a feather. I am soaring at my own pace and savoring every moment. Bring both knees to your chest and give them a gentle hug. And then turn to your favorite side, turn over like in Shavasana, and then come up to a tabletop pose. And bringing your towel or blanket with you, have it set right under your torso here. So we're in tabletop. Knees are hip width apart, right below your hips. Your hands are, fingers are spread out. Shoulder is right above your wrist, or wrist is right below your shoulder. Now we're going to do a thread the needle. So lift your left arm to the left side and then sweep it under your torso, bringing your left shoulder and your left ear down to the mat. And you can bring it right onto that towel or blanket, make it a little bit more comfortable for the duration. And keep your right hand palm down on the mat. The affirmation is, I stay rooted and will blossom no matter the direction or force of the wind. I stay rooted and will blossom no matter the direction or force of the wind. You can push down into your right hand and come back up to tabletop. We'll do that on the other side. I found myself having to breathe into my left rib cage because as time went on, a little bit of tension formed there, and I was trying to breathe through that. It did maintain its level. It didn't get any worse, but again, if you feel any discomfort, back out of the move and just try to find, something that's a little active but comfortable, your sweet spot. So again, tabletop, we're going to lift our right arm up to the side and sweep it under our torso. And bring our right shoulder and right ear down to the mat, down to our blanket towel. And the affirmation is, I stay rooted and will blossom no matter the direction or force of the wind. I stay rooted and will blossom no matter the direction or force of the wind. You push down into your left hand, rise up into tabletop again. The next pose is child's pose, and you can have bring your big toes together, and you can send your knees out to the edges of the mat for wide angled child's pose, or you can keep them close together or any distance in between that, whatever becomes comfortable for you. And then we'll send our hips back down to our ankles, extend our arms out front, and you can rest your head on the blanket, maybe even curl it up, fold it up if that works better for you. We'll stay in this pose for 2 minutes. The affirmation is, my internal dialogue is kind and loving. My internal dialogue is kind and loving. Come back up to tabletop position. Move your blanket up to the top of your mat. The next pose is going to be a low lunge lizard pose. And this is going to be the hardest pose of the, well, I think it's the hardest pose of the series here. So we're going to bring our right foot up so that our knees right over our ankle in a lunge position, and then extend our back leg with the top of your foot down so that it's again, find that sweet spot. So it may be that your knees closer to your hips. It may be that the left knee's extended a little further down. And then we're going to bring both hands to the inner side of the right foot. So both hands are right next to one another, and your right shoulder is snug against your right knee for lizard pose. Now you may want to use your blanket to put under your knee for support there, soften that, or you may want to put it under your hands. If you want a little bit more stretch, if you have blocks, you can bring the blocks in and bring your elbows down to the blocks. So that's a bit more stretch. Just bear in mind, try to find that comfortable sweet spot for 2 minutes. So let's begin that. And the affirmation is, I marvel at the freshness and beauty all around me. I marvel at the freshness and beauty all around me. Okay, we'll come back to tabletop, and we're going to switch sides. You have your knee on the blanket, you just switch knees. Bring your left foot up so that it's in a right angle, your knees stacked over your ankle, and the left knee is against your left shoulder. Both hands are to the inner side of your left foot. Again, you can move your back knee to get comfortable. The affirmation is, I marvel at the freshness and beauty all around me. I marvel at the freshness and beauty all around me. Then come back to tabletop. And our next pose is going to be the Sphinx pose. So you can bring your towel up to the top of the mat and come down onto your belly, bringing your elbows below your shoulders. And if this creates soreness for you, you can move your elbows forward, slide your hands to the front of the mat and move your elbows forward to take the pressure off your shoulders, or you can even come down to your rib cage. I don't know if your blanket can take hold of both elbows. Yeah, actually mine will. So you can put your blanket or towel underneath the shoulders to support and comfort them. The feet are, tops of your feet are pushing down into the mat. Your legs are active. The pelvis is against the mat. Your chest is open, heart is open, and looking forward. So Sphinx is actually a pretty active pose. So for the affirmation, it is, I open my heart and mind to the treasure of opportunities that life presents to me. I open my heart and mind to the treasure of opportunities that life presents to me. Now you can lift up into tabletop, and we're going to go lie down on our backs again. So roll down on your back any way that's comfortable for you. Bring your knees to your chest, give them a nice hug, maybe rock back and forth, massage your lower back. And then place both feet back down on the mat. We're going to do a butterfly pose. And if you have blocks, you may want to put them under each knee. Or let's see, with the blanket, well, that's more of a restorative pose. Never mind. So bring the soles of your feet together. Let your lower back get snug in the mat. You adjust your feet, bring them closer to your hips or bring them down to the end of the mat, whichever works to find a nice, comfortable edge, finding your edge, that sweet spot. And we'll be in this pose for 2 minutes. And the affirmation is, I allow my mind and body to naturally transform and evolve with the turning of the seasons. I allow my mind and body to naturally transform and evolve with the turning of the seasons. And bring your hands down to your thighs and gently bring your knees together with the help of your hands. And then bring your knees to your chest and give them a nice hug again. Then we're going to extend our arms out at shoulder height to each side. And then exhale, lowering your knees to the right. And you can keep your head either facing up, or if it's comfortable for you for the duration of 2 minutes, you can look over to the left, your left fingertips. And the affirmation is, this morning I awaken as though I am seeing life for the first time. This morning I awaken as though I am seeing life for the first time. Inhale, bringing your head back to center, and then inhale, lift your legs back to center, and then exhale, send your legs down to the opposite side. And if you like, you can then gently roll your head to the right to look at your right fingertips. And the affirmation is, this morning I awaken as though I am seeing life for the first time. This morning I awaken as though I am seeing life for the first time. Inhale, bring your head back to center, and inhale, bring your legs back to center. Then extend your legs to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. And it's the regular Shavasana where you let yourself really relax. Just let your feet flop open. And there is a quote I want to do from Deborah Adele's book, Yamas and Niyamas, about the surrender Niyama. She said, life knows what to do better than we do. Our task is simply to let go and receive each moment with an open heart, and then dance skillfully with it. I'll say it again. Life knows what to do better than we do. Our task is simply to let go and receive each moment with an open heart, and then dance skillfully with it. And as you relax in Shavasana, I have a blessing by Stephanie Laird for the spring. From its winter sleep, the earth has awoken, the cycle of nature, true and unbroken. The promise of spring, of life, a new start, to fill you with faith in mind, body, and heart. The perfect wheel of nature keeps spinning, with proof that an ending is just the beginning. Rejoice in this season, may it fill you with peace, and may the blessings of nature for you never cease.